Hello, my name is Jarkko Salo and I'm an intern at Reddal, and my study background is as a finance student from Aalto University.
Hi, my name is Yerkezhan Baltasheva, and I'm a recent graduate from Masters in Finance program at Aalto University.
Hi, my name is Rasmus Rannanpää. I'm a third-year bachelor student from Aalto University studying in industrial engineering and management.
Yeah, my three words that I would describe my internship with would be demanding or challenging and rewarding, but also fun. And why challenging is that obviously during my internship I had some projects that were quite new to me and I had to learn quite a lot in a fast pace, and that was at times quite challenging, but also with those challenges comes reward in sense that through those challenges and hardships I learned quite a lot actually. Why fun? Well, basically I had really good time with my client projects and especially with my colleagues. So my colleagues were really nice people and had fun after work events also with them.
I actually have very similar words as Jarkko. I would also describe my experience as challenging and rewarding. I agree that there's a lot of responsibilities from early on, even as intern, and that's both challenging and rewarding. Challenging, it's quite obvious, but it's rewarding in a sense that you get to see your contribution add value to the project, and also you get to participate in the meaningful tasks. The third word for me would be exciting, or maybe I should also say fun. And the reason is that for me personally, I was in the project that was in operations in cosmetics and skincare company, and I personally find that industry extremely interesting. So personally for me, that was a very exciting experience.
The words that I chose to describe my internship were insightful, diverse, and enjoyable. First of all, insightful because the industry that I worked in, or the client works in, was new to me, so everything I had to learn from the beginning and learn the business model and so on. Then diverse because I got to do a range of different tasks, varying from the hands-on analysis and research to the highest level of strategy at our clients. And then enjoyable because even though there were some longer days and demanding weeks, the internship experience was overall really enjoyable. My main takeaways from this internship were, first of all, the way of working in the business development field, because this was my first time in the field and got really some great insights from colleagues. Secondly, the problem-solving skills, which were very useful in every engagement that I worked in. We also had a training week to really hone in on our problem-solving skills, which was quite useful. And lastly, the collaboration with internal and external parties was really something that I think will benefit me in the future.
Well, the main learnings for me from my time at Reddal were really the ability to work under uncertainty and still make good decisions, good analysis, and move things forward, even though I did not always know everything available. And the second learning for me, equally as important, was how to manage time and resources that were bestowed upon me. Yeah. So, for example, some people work in different time zones, some people work it differently than others. So how do I manage all of that in an efficient way and in a way that doesn't hinder my progress with the client?
The key takeaway or learning for me was firstly, I got to see firsthand how important clear communication is, especially when you're in a setting where you have to communicate with different stakeholders, whether it's customers, suppliers, third party, or different teams within the organization itself. And having everyone aligned on the same goals is extremely important. The other key takeaway for me was getting to see how theory that I have been seeing in schoolwork being applied in the actual world. So, for example, since I was in the operations project, there were a lot of concepts that I have seen in my industrial engineering courses, such as throughput or lead time, and I got to see their real-life applications.
My most memorable moment was one week when my manager was away, and I was in charge of having our weekly meeting with our clients team, and that was a demanding week, but I got great support from my colleagues and everything went smoothly in the end.
Oh, wow, it sounds very challenging. Luckily, I didn't have such challenges in my way, but some of the most memorable moments for me in Reddal related to the afterworks that we had. Specifically, I really enjoyed aerial yoga. So it was really nice to get to know everyone in a more relaxed setting and also just getting to try something new.
Yeah, I surely do remember that after work evening, and let's just say that I'm not that well versed in aerial yoga. My most memorable moment at Reddal during my internship was during this one training week that Rasmus mentioned earlier, where we had this couple-hour session about how to create stories and how to tell stories and how to combine different parts of a story into a good storyline. And during that session, I got to present one of my best personal stories to a wide audience at Reddal office, and well, I did get a great response for that story from all of my colleagues, and that experience really stuck with me for a long time.
I expected to gain practical experience in the consulting industry and develop my skills in Excel and PowerPoint. All of those expectations were definitely met, but there was also the unexpected part. It wasn't only about creating the material and making the slides pretty, but also being part of the execution and being part of the client team. So in that sense, I guess the expectations were definitely met and even well exceeded.
Well, I definitely share those expectations about learning some technical skills, for example, Excels and PowerPoints. So those were also the main tools for me during my internship as well. But in addition to that, I also expected to work with a diverse set of people. And well, as my project happened to be all over Europe and South Korea, I got to talk with a lot of different people from lots of different countries, and that was really interesting for me at the time.
I had a few expectations prior to this internship, and the first one was that I'll get to work with talented colleagues and learn the best practices of driving these client engagements, and that was definitely met. The second one was regarding the client projects themselves. I expected to work on the projects which are of top priority at our client's leadership, and that was also met during my internship. So overall, the expectations were met.